Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a 6-game win streak here as well with Shadow Gardevoir in the Open Master League. For the Pokemon that you don't need any raids for, this is one of the best Pokemon that you can currently build just because there are so many Dragon-type Pokemon. Like, honestly, there is basically one Dragon-type Pokemon on every team, which we have here today as well. We're going to have the Giratina. Giratina is a Pokemon that you also barely really see, and I honestly don't really know why. Like, this Pokemon is actually kind of great in the current meta, allowing you to beat those new Necrozma forms. But also, we're going to have this Say Swap here of Zacian. We're running the move Snarl as a fast move, which is going to be definitely the best move to go for nowadays, thanks to the current meta of the Necrozma. If you run a quick attack, both Necrozma forms are going to be able to resist it, one even double resist it, and that is not really ideal. Zacian was overpowered. Honestly, Zacian is so strong. Like, this Pokemon is ridiculous. As you can see here already in the first battle, we were able to knock out one Pokemon. We were able to knock out a second Pokemon. We can go for a close combat here, get the shield from the opponent, get another move in, and of course there's still that Gardevoir lurking in the back, being able to completely destroy the opponent's final Pokemon. We can move on to the next opponent. Very solid lead for us. It's actually not as ideal in the zero shield scenario compared to like other shield scenarios, so we decided to keep our energy for now and just let them go for a charge move. That's going to be fine for us. It is going to be the Brave Bird coming through. We can go for a Shadow Ball afterwards. It's going to hopefully be able to knock them out. Let's see if they're going to let the move go through. They decided to use a shield here as well, allowing us to go for another Shadow Ball in time, which is going to help us out quite a bit because now the opponent is going to be in a spot where they are shieldless. We are shieldless. That is going to be quite a day as well, as they're swapping out into the Kyogre. That is going to be a very favorable matchup for me. I can go for a Shadow Ball. That should not be an issue. And 2 Shadow Balls are going to be enough to knock them out. And so I'm kind of curious on what they're going to have in the back if they're say swapping a Kyogre against a Dragon-type Pokemon. This seems a little bit weird, I would say, but we have to see what they have there. We're going to be able to go for the, cheaper move here. Ominous Wind, going to be fine for us to fully farm them down, and let's see what they have in the back. They should reveal their final Pokemon at this point. It is going to be actually the Necrozma, which is a great matchup for us because we can still go for a Shadow Ball, and again, I feel like Giratina is also one of the more underrated Pokemon in the current meta, so feel free to use this Pokemon as well. Here we can still go for a Wild Charge, and we did not even have to use really anything other than our lead. Yeah, we had to use like one Pokemon there, like one move on the Zacian, but literally our lead itself did most of it. Horrible lead for the next opponent, but that is going to be fine because we have 2 good answers in the back, and this is why you want to run Snarl. Snarl is going to be able to generate energy a little bit faster compared to Quick Attack, but also does super effective damage against the opponent's Necrozma, which is going to be great for us as we are going to be able to use a shield here. Shield coming up, going to allow us to survive that Sunsteel Strike, and now we can just go for the Wild Charge spam, trying to not reveal our final moveset as well. Here, Wild Shot in close combat is exactly the same kind of move against the opponent. Neither of them are stab, both of them are going to be neutral, so whatever you're going for, it doesn't really matter in this kind of context. But if you kind of want to have the opponent keeping their Zekrom in the back, basically, you kind of don't want to reveal that you don't have Play Rough. Now I'm going to reveal that we don't have Play Rough, even though even in this scenario, while it looks a little weird, you're going to have the same amount of damage from close combat as well as that Wild Shot. Even though the opponent is a ground-type Pokemon, they are also part flying, which kind of, changes that a little bit. Anyway, I expect the opponent to swap out eventually here into their Zekrom, as they are going to have a better time with that one against our Giratina. But let's see when they're going to do this. They're going to do it now, and now it's time for Gardevoir to shine. We're going to see here again how much damage this Pokemon actually can do, and especially in the meta right now, where the Palkia is going to be very common. This Pokemon is ridiculous. Like, literally, Gardevoir was one of the coolest Pokemon I've played so far. Sure, a little bit of toxicness is in this team here for sure, but it is fine. It is such a good balanced team, and honestly, if you don't have a Zacian and you think, what can I use instead? You can't use anything instead, to be fair. Like, you have to use Zacian. There are other options maybe for the lead, like Kyogre, like Palkia, but Zacian is completely needed for this team, in my opinion, because there's no other Pokemon that can punish the answers for Fairy-type Pokemon as good as Zacian, which we saw here already in this example against the Ho-Oh. There's not another Fairy-type Pokemon that would be able to not beat Ho all the time, but at least like has a potential to counter Ho, but also has a counter to basically the Necrozma form with the Steel typing, which is the Dawn Wings. No, that's the Dusk Main typing. I always, like honestly, Dusk Main, Dawn Wings, I am so confused by them. Maybe I should have like a sign here up at my table or whatever, where it's just like has both pictures and has like the names below it, because at this point I am just too confused by that. But anyway, we're going to have a Gardevoir here. We're still going to have a shield left, and that shield is going to be very useful. As I swap onto the Rayquaza here, we can go ahead and go for our triple axle, boosting our attack even further, which is of course deadly if you have Charm. Charm is going to do so much damage here right now against the opponent. They go for the Breaking Swipe, which is going to drop my attack, but it does not really matter. We can use another shield here, and unless they can go for another move afterwards, which I doubt they will be able to, we're going to be fine. We can win this battle. Next opponent, we're going to have a horrible lead again here. We can swap out straight away into the Zacian, baiting out the Necrozma. And this is exactly what you want to do. Like, this is why this team is so cool as well. I'm forced to use a shield here though. I hope it is the move that we want to shield. It is not. It's a Dark Pulse. If I let the move go through, I would have been in such a great spot. But of course, you cannot risk it. Like, if the opponent goes for the Steel type move, you're going to lose all the energy that they just gained basically the game immediately. So, is it worth a gamble? I don't think so. So, I feel like this is definitely the right call. But also, the opponent is going to struggle now a little bit as well. We get rid already at the, we have basically here the hardest Charm answer out of already. And so we're going to get rid of this Pokemon as well, which is kind of cool. They can go for Dark Pulse. Even if they're going to reach another Dark Pulse here against the Giratina, we know already one Pokemon is a very weak to Charmers. And so, unless there is a Pokemon in the back that's going to completely destroy the Gardevoir, we should be kind of fine here. We keep even the Shadow Ball for later on. And as they're staying in here, I'm fairly certain there is going to be a Pokemon back, then we're going to have a great time against this ball. And so the opponent goes for a Crunch, doesn't get the debuff this time around, but we can go ahead and go for the triple XL, being double super effective. It is going to knock out the opponent from this range, guaranteed. And we can see now in the back, it's going to be the Palkia, and they had enough. So, as you can see here, we got a 5-0 with this team, which is lovely. Got a Carbink, climbing up a little bit higher again, and we can move on to the next opponent here. Landorus is going to be a matchup that is actually one of the most trickiest one that you can have for this team. If you're running something like a Kyogre in the lead, or even the Palkia, you're going to be a little bit better off against this Pokemon, but with the Giratina form here, it can be quite tricky. We can go for a Shadow Ball, but the opponent is going to use a Shield, and yes, we're going to outspeed them to the next Shadow Ball, because he needs 7 fast moves per Shadow Ball, and to get to 3 of their charge moves, you need at least 15 turns, plus of course every single time you use a charge move, you're going to lose 1 turn. So we are not going to be able to knock them out here, but at least we're going to have that shield advantage, which is going to come in clutch if you're going to have a Charm on the back that, like we have here, and we can still even reach another move with our Zacian, try to get the knockout, but I get the final shield instead, and I'm like thinking, what can really beat Gardevoir with 2 shields here in this meta? I don't think there is any Pokemon. And yeah, you may have like something like a Metagross or something like this, but they are so rare. And I already swapped out into my Zacian, and the opponent decided to stay in, which kind of led me to believe that they don't have an answer in the back, and they swap out into a Dialga, and I was like, that's great, thanks for that. And we see here, sneaking 1 fast move through is quite important for the matchup, because if you don't get this done, the opponent is going to be able to get to another charge move afterwards. But like this, we can go for the full farm down, knock them out, have a ton of energy, and they have a Zygarde in the back. And oh man, like we have a double super effective move here, we have Charm, we double resist the fast move, goodbye Zygarde. Like honestly, your time is done here. Bye-bye there, and also the Landorus in the back, no chance at all. Horrible lead, like literally, in terms of algorithm, this is like the closest you can get to, but it's going to be fine because it's swapping out into a Necrozma, and look at the damage of Snarl. Snarl is one of the worst moves in the game in terms of damage output, and look at the damage that we do here. It is chunking away like the same way as Shadow Claw does from the opponent here, even though Shadow Claw is one of the strongest moves in the game in terms of damage output. It is quite ridiculous. Wild Shot's coming through again, and of course we want to realign. And of course I'm going to be even able to get to another Wild Shot here, and all of a sudden, a very bad lead there kind of flipped around a bit, and they swap out into the Togekiss, and I have no real answer. But the Giratina, I guess, as they're swapping out to the Hydreigon, we can swap into our Gardevoir, go for the full farm down. But they really actually survived so many Charms here. I did not expect this at all. They're double weak to Charm, but we can barely survive their move as well. Now it's down to a dragon against the fairy type Pokemon. Who is going to win this one? We can go for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is going to be able to connect and do a tremendous amount of damage here. We can try to even reach another move as well. Ominous Wind coming through. This is going to be able to now hopefully knock them out, and it is, and so we can win this battle. Next opponent, Zacian in the lead, is actually a fairly neutral one for us. Nowadays, people are running Player Rough basically guaranteed on this Pokemon. Unless they have our Zacian here, unless they're gonna play this team, I guess. But yeah, basically Player Rough is needed, I guess, maybe now on this Pokemon. I feel like a little bit differently about it nowadays again, because I feel like the meta shifted quite a bit, making Snarl, Wild Charge, Close Combat a little bit better again. So I see the play for Player Rough still, like Player Rough does make sense as well, still, don't get me wrong. But I feel like it is not as clear anymore as it was before. Anyway, we're going to see here, sadly, the matchup of two Zacians against each other, and we are winning the CMP tie before, that did not matter, and we're losing CMP tie here, that did matter, because if we would have won this one as well, we would have been in a great spot, we would have been able to knock them out without using a shield, and now they're going to have a Xerneas in the back, and this game is not over yet. It is not over yet. But also, I should have most likely tried to catch a move here, because it would have been in close combat, and catching close combat onto either of our Pokemon actually in the back. Both of them are double resisting close combat, would have been cool. But now it's down to Giratina here. They swap out into the Kyogre, and I'm not too sure. I think I make a little bit of a mistake here. What I should have done instead, very likely, is just go for the Shadow Ball here, take one hit from the opponent, and then just swap out into my other Pokemon in the back. But I didn't do that. I decided to go for the Shadow Ball, thinking that this would be the correct call. I swapped out way too early here, I guess, as well. And I was honestly thinking I would not take too much damage from a Moonblast. It's a neutral hit, but it did way more than I expected. Honestly, I thought like we would still end up with like the red health, but like early red health, not literally next to being completely down anyway. And so, yeah, this was kind of unfortunate. Kind of, I would have known a little bit better about Gardevoir. I would have played differently, but it's what it is. Zacian next is going to have here the first move of Quick Attack. Again, I loved Quick Attack before. There was so much play for Quick Attack before, but nowadays I think Snarl is just better. Like, Snarl is just going to give you a little bit more play in the current meta, because Dark-type moves, Ghost-type moves, all of those moves are going to be very, very good right now. If you have a Pokemon that has those moves, maybe give it a try. Even like recently I made a video about Incineroar that actually worked out really, really well in the Open Master League, just because there's so many targets for Dark-type Pokemon, like especially the Necrozmas, of course Mewtwo, the odd one, but yeah, Necrozma's needy in every single team right now, and so it is kind of cool to have Dark-type coverage. But anyway, we're going to see here the Sensei Storm coming through. We can go ahead and swap out into the Giratina. Giratina is going to be able to take a hit. This is going to be the Sensei Storm again. We're going to drop our attack. But what we try to do next is going to be crazy as well. We're going to try to win this battle with our Gardevoir. Can we get another sweep again here? We have 2 shields to 1 shield. We know already that there's one Pokemon that we can beat as well. It depends all on the final one here. We're going to see the Zacian coming back in. We swap out, and it does quite a lot of damage there, which is a little bit annoying with the Quick Attack, but it is what it is. They swap out into the final one. It is going to be that Park here. I can just go for the full farm. I should be fine here. This should be a good game. I don't think there's a way of the opponent still being able to win this battle. And so we're going to go for the full farm down and knock them out. And in comes now the Zacian. We are going to be able to go ahead and get the Triple Axle onto it. Going to get the attack buff there as well. And now the opponent has basically no play anymore. They go for the Wild Charge. We can go for the Ominous Wind there, and that's going to be it. That's going to be super, not super effective, but like the opponent's double debuff. Like, what are they going to do here? Final one for the day, we're going to have a fairly decent lead. It is actually not as favorable as it seems. Like, you have a Ghost type against yeah, what's called a Psychic-type Pokemon there, but of course the opponent is running Shadow Claw and having Dark Pulse. It makes it a little bit of a trickier one, I have to say. Definitely makes it a little bit of a trickier one. Anyway, we're going to be able to go ahead and go for the bait here again, which is the best move to go for, because now you can outspeed them for the next one, and you can try to catch the move onto the Zacian if they're going to decide to use a shield here, because nobody would go ahead and go for the Sunsteel Strike. And so again, we're going to be able to catch a move here onto our Zacian, going to be resisted. We would be able to farm down now with every Pokemon we have. So this one is basically done for. We can go for a Wild Charge here with our own Zacian against the opponent's Kyogre. We will be able to even go for another one afterwards. But let's find out what the opponent gonna try to do here. They decide to go for their own charge move to deny our charge move as well, which is smart because now they don't have to use an extra shield. I decided to go into my Giratina, thinking this would be the best spot that I can go into, and I should be able to go for full farm down, which I guess is going to be great for me as well. Surf coming through, or we can go for the full farmer with a little bit of lag. And now we have to see what there's going to be in the back. We're gonna swap out straight away, and this is going to be, or we're not gonna swap out straight away, we're gonna lose our energy here, and it's going to be the Dialga. And this small play before there literally decided everything. Because if I even got some more energy onto the opponent before, I would have been able to get to the triple Excel faster, would have been able to do more damage faster, and that would have maybe impacted the battle a little bit. But what we're gonna see here, sadly, is that the opponent is going to be able to barely survive with like a 1 turn literally, and win the battle now with an Iron Head. Could have played better, would have been able to win the game there as well, but this team is amazing. Like honestly, I would really recommend you to try this team out if you have the Pokemon, and I see you then. Bye bye.